Good evening, good evening, good evening. Let's do the quick formalities as always. Let me know you can hear me. We had a bit of a technical issue yesterday, but we sorted that out quite quickly. So I hope you can all hear me. Just let me know. Yesterday, what a fantastic live stream. To speak to people like us who have been over in France is important because people need to understand how it operates, how it's dealt with, how it's done, and how easy it is with the right mindset and the right attitude to go there and to do what's needed. So tonight is going to be another opportunity for you to hear a testimony, a story from a young lad that I have known for a while. He is dedicated to the cause. He's dedicated to doing what's right, and he actually did a report for, I'm going to try it, Vox Populi. He told me it means for the people. So I want to start tonight by showing you this video. It speaks for itself. I think it's very powerful. Fair play to him. He's clearly got a very good future ahead of him. His name's James Harvey. Great lad. I've known him for many years. I've seen him at many events, and he's got a very, very bright future. But I'm going to bring this in. I'm going to I want you to watch this because it's important that you watch it because they've obviously gone to some degree to get this put together. And I think it's important that we give it the attention that it deserves. So let me just bring this in quickly. I'm going to bring this in, make sure I do this right.
News exclusive. We can reveal that anti-migrant activists who travelled to France to stop the small boats are now facing arrest.
We're walking through this area here, and they found a boat that's buried.
We're filming all of you. You are not welcome in Britain. You are planning to come to Britain illegally. They are planning to come to Britain illegally. Allahu Akbar.
What was that, sorry?
Allahu Akbar.
Allahu Akbar.
Takbir. Takbir.
Muslim invasion, guys.
Takbir.
A few friends from Patriots of Britain asked if I'd like to join them in France, not as an activist, but as a journalist.
We have to reach here. Maybe one next one.
Is it really possible to Dunkirk, physically confront the migrant gang, and completely halt the dinghies from reaching UK shores? Or are there any alternative routes and approaches that achieve a better result?
Builds them back. After 50.
Over the past few months, we've seen a growing number of people heading to Calais, from UKIP to Raise the Flags to Montgomery Toms, and now us. A few friends from Patriots of Britain asked if I'd like to join them in France, not as an activist, but as a journalist. With figures like Danny Tomo having raised over £200,000 on the claim he can stop the boats, I wanted to see for myself whether that's actually achievable. Is it really possible to go to Calais or Dunkirk, physically confront the migrant gangs on the beaches, and completely halt the dinghies from reaching UK shores? Or are there any alternative routes and approaches that achieve a better, that there are no people smugglers, just NGOs? And whether that's actually true. I arrived in Dover at 7:30 a.m, ready for our 9 a.m. ferry to Calais. Once we landed in France, we headed straight to Gravity Lines. It used to be home to multiple migrant camps located. Camps usually last about a week before the police ask them to move on, and they settle in a different location. They usually have 9 to 10 locations, which they shuffle between as the police move them on every week or so to give the appearance they're actually doing something. What struck me, though, was just how far the illegal immigrants have to walk while carrying those inflatable boats. After driving around for a while, we finally spotted a migrant camp tucked near the railway line. Getting down to it looked a bit tricky.
I'm just going to pause that there. Some people are saying that's lagging. A lot of people are saying broken audio. Okay, well, you get the gist of it. What we need, what I'm going to do is when I finish this video, I'm going to put that description of that video in the description so you can go and watch it properly. If it's lagging, I don't want to wait. It's 20 minutes long, so if it's not, it was lagging, yeah. Okay, so the point of this is it's just to give you an intro who James is. James decided to go over there and to do a report, and I want to get his feelings on it, and I wanted to contact him. And I know that he's now in the studio waiting to come in. Yeah, so listen, for anyone that's looking at this and talking about going over there and seeing for what it is, I need to make people aware that there are other people that went over there. There are other people that have done what we've done, and there's other people that can categorically state that with the right mindset, with the right people, you can go over there and you can show your presence. You can be loud and proud. You don't have to use any violence. You don't have to commit any crimes. You don't have to commit any stupidness. And I felt when I saw James's video, he was right. At the beginning, I didn't believe that the majority were people smugglers. Now that I've managed to have the months and months of research and everything else, and I've got insiders sending me actual evidence, I do believe that there is people smugglers, but not to the mass level that I believe that people think it is. I think a lot of these migrants don't have a penny. There are some that have money. There are some that are offered, and there are some that pay. And there are some violence that's committed against people that try and get on the boats for free. I know that's a fact. So I want to bring James in, and I just want James to get me his feeling, get me how he felt when he got there, his vibe, what he saw, and what he sees for the future. So I'm going to bring James in now. Hopefully the audio's okay. We didn't have any problems yesterday, so hopefully everything's all right. James, good evening.
Good evening, mate. Thank you for having me on.
No problem. First off, we did try and play the whole video, but I think there's been some lagging. So, unfortunately, my internet isn't fantastic. So I think that's probably one of the issues. But we're going to put that video in the description for people to watch. They got the gist of you being in France. Let's talk over it. So what happened when you got there? How did you get there first off? What sort of mode of transport did you use to get to France?
So I did have a message from Patriots of Britain. They invited me to come along with them to France. They go at least once a month. It's a group of fantastic guys, by the way, if anyone wants to give them a follow on Twitter. But they invited me up to France to basically just kind of go there with an open mind, right? We hear a lot of things online. People say it's the NGOs that are trafficking them. There are people who say that there are no people smugglers. There are also people who say there are people smugglers. And there's a lot of conflicting reports, right? So I went out there not as an activist, but as a journalist, as I said in that video, with a completely open mind. I didn't know what I was expecting to see. And, you know,
how did you get over there, though? Just James, how did you get there? How did you get there?
So I do prefer flying, but one of the guys from Patriots of Britain isn't too, he's not too keen on flying, so he ended up going over on a ferry.
Okay. From Dover,
Yeah, from Dover. So it was a 7:30. I left at 5 in the morning, got to the port around 7:30, and we arrived in Dover around 10 a.m. roughly.
Okay, nice and easy then.
Yeah. I mean, it's an extremely easy place to get to, really, isn't it? France, it's literally just across the channel. You've been there countless times now. It's 2 hours on the ferry, so yes. It's an easy place to get to. I mean, when we arrived, we spent, I think the first part of that journey was driving up to Gravelines, where there are a lot of, typically there were a lot of migrant camps.
It's not far, is it, from Calais to Gravelines? It's 20-minute drive.
Yeah, 20, 30 minutes. Yeah, ain't far at all.
Yeah.
We got up there, and as you know, the police do move on these camps really quickly. So they usually a camp lasts about a week, and then it's moved on by police because they want to give the appearance they're actually doing something. And so these camps shuffle between about 5-6 different locations, which get moved along every week by these police. But they kind of
go to. Do you know which one it was? Was it the?
Oh, it was just by the railway line. I can't remember the name of it. I'm not sure I'd be able to pronounce it. But I mean, if you saw, so Montgomery Toms also went there a couple of months ago. It seems to be quite a big problem. I discussed this in a video. While the government, if you remember in November, the government said there was 30 days of no crossings, right? No one coming along over in a dinghy. Well, actually, the location where we were, further inland, right, was away from Calais and Dunkirk. Yeah, it was about 20, 30 minutes away. So because it's further inland, those camps don't use boats. They use lorries, trains, etc., to reach their location, right? So when you're hearing online,
you get the appearance that they're not coming, but actually,
exactly, you're being told that, oh yeah, because there's no boat crossings, you know, because there's a bit of bad weather, that there are no migrants entering the UK. That is factually, that's false. There are tons that are still coming over in lorries, trucks, and
flying. I've heard a lot coming in through planes.
Flying, exactly. There's massive issues with that. I mean, people overstaying their visas. So we are being lied to. This country has been invaded, and this was kind of the main aim of the video. It wasn't just discussing whether there are people smugglers, but also discussing, is it actually possible to stop the boats? You know, I know this video, by the way, was filmed before you left Raise the Colours. So I know with Raise the Colours, their aim was to stop the boats, physically confront them on the beaches, and the UKIP had the same goal. Now, I went out there with the goal in mind of trying to figure out if it's actually possible. And I mean, what do you think? Do you think it's possible to confront the gangs and stop the boats from leaving?
I do think it's possible, but I think that we have to be realistic and we have to understand what that actually entails and what it means. It's all well and good saying we're going to put boots on the ground in France, but then if we see a dinghy being held up in the air by 100 migrants or 50 migrants, what is it that they're proposing that we do? I mean, because if you go anywhere near them, you're going to get arrested. You go anywhere near the boat while they're on it or touching it, you're going to get arrested. Yeah. So what this is actually about is the pressure. The pressure right now is needed more than anything. The pressure to put on the French authorities to understand that no matter who they ban from France, that a presence is there. If consistency is key here, and that's the problem. And we have to get away from just having one organization or one group of people being part of this fight back. It has to be a collective group effort, and something has to happen a lot sooner rather than later. I mean, I don't know if you know, but from the boats perspective, 174 men came in yesterday on 3 boats. So every day that we talk and every day that we don't put action in is the days that we're still being invaded. So I think it's possible. I think it takes some balls. I think it takes some getting out your comfort zone. But I think if you can have a presence before they get to the beach, if you can, you know, we have prevented launches by putting pressure on the police to keep the migrants in the camps, and that worked. And that's not a lie. That's a fact. You know, they knew we were there, and they prevented the migrants from coming to the beach. So putting pressure on the governments. So that's my point of view. I don't know how you see it, but that's how I see it. It's not clear cut sending people to France, putting them on a beach or putting them on a town and thinking then suddenly that's going to prevent people from getting on small dinghies. You know, it's a longevity, it's a consistent thing, but you know, we can't just wait. Waiting game is too long. It's been nearly a month and a half now since we've been on those beaches. You've been, I don't know when you went over there, BB Media went over there recently. He said they saw scattered, you know, it's happening. And the weather this weekend is great for them. So there's going to be my informant, my person behind the scenes is telling me there's going to be a surge this weekend.
No, absolutely. But I think there's a concern, right? So whether, like, taking 500 British activists, for example, over to France would be beneficial in terms of it could provoke an international incident. I believe that if there were 500, actual men to go out there and physically confront the gangs on the beaches, then it could turn into a low-level civil war. And that would definitely provoke a major international incident that could kind of pressure the French authorities into action, definitely. And I discussed that in the video. But what I also see, and I'm sure you would have seen it as well, because while you would have stopped that the one gang from being able to cross over the channel into Britain, unfortunately, that same gang would then go out on a different day. And what would happen is, right, so that you would know this by now, that from Calais to Dunkirk, that coastline is so vast that it would be incredibly difficult to patrol at all times, 24/7. You know, all angles of it to stop the boat from physically leaving without the backing of the French or British military, right? Because you would face, I mean, let's be real here. It's not just the smuggling gangs. It's not just the NGOs. It is the British and the French establishment and, you know, this whole kind of global establishment that are working together in order to facilitate the invasion of Britain, right? So you wouldn't just face aggression from the
Come
gangs.
from every angle.
Exactly. It would come from the police as well, who would arrest all of you. And I don't know, it's just, while I believe that pressure absolutely works, I wanted to kind of figure out if there are other ways we could do it. We could achieve the same thing. If we could put like all of those resources that we take over to France, if we could put that into a different direction, that might achieve a better result and do it more efficiently. So that was the whole aim of the video. And like when I went out there, and you definitely would have seen this as well, the camps are in absolute state. Yeah. Filthy, disgusting.
They're used to them. They're used to living in those conditions because if you look at their countries and the way that they live, to us it may seem shocking. To us it may seem. But I just want to go back onto your point because I think you made a very interesting point. There's other angles of this, especially here at home, that can be taken to put pressure on those that are allowing this to happen as much as the French are allowing this to happen. And I'm totally in agreement. But what we also need to understand is that this has been going on for 20 years and nothing up to now has worked. And nothing up to now is coming into fruition in terms of being able to come up with the right idea. So it's about actually putting pressure. Now, I would say to you that even though you are right that other things need to be done, we have the highest minister in the French government talking about 10 English men, talking about banning English men from the towns, from the beaches, because of the pressure that was put using social media. Social media put pressure on the French government at the highest level to get them to ban English people. Now, imagine elevating that pressure by 10, using, all those that you went with, all those that have been, everyone making a stand, taking a stand. It doesn't have to be violent. It doesn't need to turn into a riot. It doesn't need to be confrontational. You do not need to confront anyone. What you need to do is embarrass them to a level that they've been embarrassed to, so then their action is then taken. The fact that the British government haven't actually said anything on the basis of, hold on a second, you're banning 10 British nationals from the territory of France, but you will not ban any migrants from entering our country, or the British government are not putting any bans on migrants entering our country. I made it very clear yesterday, and you made a very good point a minute ago. Everything is interconnected. Everyone is making money. It's a cash cow from top to bottom. Cash cow from the NGOs. I mean, I don't know if you've known, I don't know if you managed, if you seem to have some good people behind you. Look at the accounts of Utopia 56. It's common public knowledge. You can look into it. Look how much Utopia 56 are paying themselves of wages. It goes into the millions. You look at the French authorities, how much they're gaining from this money-wise. So like you're saying, there's other avenues that need to be taken. There's a lot of different ways. But we can't deal with all at once. So for me, my looking at this, I think, hold on a minute. We've had the French government at the highest level now take action because of our action. So we elevate that times 10 in the right manner, with the right people, with the right pressure. It might actually kickstart potential, like you're saying, a conversation that needs to be had on a bigger level. If that makes sense.
Absolutely. And I think conversation is incredibly important, which is why people take an extreme position on the right. Yeah. So when you've got people go, and I think, by the way, it's fantastic that you guys got banned from France. And I do envy that in a sense. What I've noticed from the French establishment, so when we went up, we were, and I know you guys have been stopped as well. We were stopped directly outside one of these camps and had our passports seized. Mm-hmm. Now, these police officers, they're not allowed to interact with the migrants or even stop the boats on the way to the beaches. They're only allowed to touch them once they reach the beach, right? So now, while a lot of people are blaming the officers, I'm not going to blame them, and I'm going to go a step further and blame the ministers, blame the government, etc. Pressure is good. Pressure is absolutely fantastic. But take the money that we've raised, or for example, the 500 British activists that we could take into France, Calais and Dunkirk to physically confront the migrant gangs. All I'm asking is, could we take that into a different direction and achieve a better result? Because all I'm seeing at the moment, especially if you go to any of the Somali camps in Calais, you're going to see them coming out with knives. Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, we had a knife pulled on us.
Exactly, it's concerning. When we went up there, we
didn't
went
even know until after, when one of the lads in the back of the car reviewed the image and saw the lad had it up his sleeve, and it was at the back of the car. And Ryan had only just got back in the car. Serious situations, and scary as well. It's dangerous.
Exactly. I know it's incredibly dangerous.
James, can you just keep talking for a second? My dog is stuck in the toilet, I think, so I'm gonna have to let her. Just give me 1 second. I'll be straight back. Keep talking about France, mate. Yeah,
no worries, mate. So I don't even know where to go from here, but the fact is, we went over to France. If anyone hasn't watched the video, by the way, go check it out. It's on Vox Populi Media on YouTube, Facebook, etc. When we went up to France, we were stopped outside one of these camps, directly outside, 200 meters away, a camp where they demanded our passports. Yeah, when they demanded our passports, when they demanded our passports, they detained us for about how many minutes? They detained us for about half an hour. They detained us for about half an hour. Eventually, they let us go, right? But one of my mates was actually, again from Pictures Britain, one of my mates was filming the interaction with police. This is all included in the video. And he noticed my mate filming towards the end of it. You know what he did? He grabbed my mate's phone and deleted the footage right in front of us. Now, in France, the police are not allowed to do that. I've gone through a French circular from 2008, and it basically says in no uncertain terms, police are not allowed to destroy copies of them doing their duties at all. Right? There are no grounds to do that, even in cases of terrorism. So he basically broke a criminal offence by doing that. I mean, I've got the video. But unfortunately, while I have consulted lawyers on his behalf, it's a very costly endeavour to take them.
And there's a reason for that, so that people don't do exactly that. And it's apparently it's also illegal to video police officers in France. You can get some serious shit, because when we got held at the border, and this very angry French officer came in and tried to intimidate us to give us the passwords to phones and everything else, and we stuck to our guns and didn't do that. But I can definitely see from that happening. The French, it frustrates me. I know what you're saying about the French police. It's not, because when we've spoken to the maritime police, the local police, the national police, and the maritime and military police. Sorry. And they were all very welcoming in terms of they were holding us, questioning us, but then the military police got their phones out and started showing us videos of migrants on boats that they'd stopped. And so when I talk about Operation Overlord as a sentiment, when I talk about it, this isn't some fancy idea that I want to. The reason I'm doing this, the reason I'm saying this, because it's proven that pressure works. And you're right, the pressure needs to go onto the right things. There's things at home that needs to be used, pressure needs to be used on. I'm not quite sure where that is. I mean, what would you say here at home? Where would you think that pressure should be applied? I mean, the Home Office, we've been to the Home Office when we first launched Operation Overlord, and the response was we had just a load of security guards come out, put barriers out, and then what do you see back home that we could do as a movement to put pressure?
This is the unfortunate reality, right? Is that we've seen now demonstrations that are organised, which even have hundreds of thousands of attendees, haven't really resulted in change. And that's what we've been trying to push for, right? And you're right in what you said earlier. Whatever we've tried, whatever we put our attention towards just never seems to work, whether that's protesting in London, outside Downing Street, and even now going to France, even though you could say getting bans, which is it's definitely definitely evidence that you've done well, right? I discussed this in video, and I think the main thing, and I know we always discuss this, but I think this is where the problem lies, is the pull factors. Yeah. For a start, though, I don't think necessarily that. How to explain this? So you've got migrants that travel from all sorts of countries from the Middle East, right? But not just the Middle East, from Ukraine, etc. There are multiple safe countries in between us and every single one of them. There are no countries that are currently surrounding this island that are at war, None whatsoever. The only reason people would flock here are for economic reasons or for a purpose of Islamic domination, right?
Mhm.
So I think, first of all, the only type of immigration that works, that is proven to work, is skilled immigration. For example, if we are experiencing some kind of shortfall in a technological sector, the NHS, whatever it is, those are the only type of immigrants that need to come here. Anyone else, I don't know. I don't think.
I think we're at that level. I think we've been blindsided to believe that we need mass amounts of immigration and migrants and people for our country to work. The only reason that there is the volume of truth in terms of the volume of people to help run the country is because of the amount of people that are in this country and the amount of people that have been allowed to stay. If the vast majority of mass immigration had never happened, the resource, the strain on the services like the NHS, the doctors, and the dentists and everything else wouldn't be there, because I don't believe it would. I think that we would be able to handle it as a country the way that other countries do. But we're a small island. You only have to go into the biggest cities in the United Kingdom to see what's happened. The demographic change is undeniable. The demographic change is visible to see throughout everywhere. And people are becoming very norm to it and not realizing that it never used to be like that. When our grandfathers were alive and they were growing up after the war or even before the war, the state of our country was beautiful. That you could get a doctor's and a dentist appointment on the same day. Your family knew the local doctor by name, and we're in a position now where we don't really understand, or people don't really understand, that the problem here is the vast amount of people that are coming in. And I think we're at a point now between, can we ever stop that? That's probably another conversation for another day. But I think we've already made our bed and we're having to currently lie in it, and it's very sad to see. That is the concern. But what we can do, because even if we deported a ton of our legal migrants as well, it's just not enough. At the moment, the birth rate of the British population is down drastically. Yeah, and theirs is ever increasing. Go on, carry on. No, go on. Yeah, theirs is ever increasing, right? They're having 8 kids per family, all on benefits. Meanwhile, the British population are having 1 or 2 kids, if that. And it's kind of like that film Idiocracy, right? Which talks about how the entire world is become run by idiots, essentially, because the idiot population just keeps on having kids, keeps on breeding, while the smart population just doesn't. And I think that's a big concern as well. And we used to have tax breaks for families who are bringing up children. Now we don't. Instead, we reward those and incentivize those who don't provide to the economy. So I think that's kind of part of my big point, is that we need to stop all immigration for the time being, just hold on to skilled immigration. That's the only type of immigration that works. And even then, we need to be a lot stricter on that. But the pull factors, what incentivizes people to come into Britain? It's the fact that they are given 40 quid cash a week. It's the fact they are given a hotel. And, while we protest outside hotels, the problem is if all the hotels shut, at least we know where they are in the hotels. When the hotels shut, they go into HMOs and housing. They're on your street and you have no idea. So we need to remove all the incentives that bring them to Britain. That is the main way we can stop the invasion of the UK. I agree. While I think that going to Calais absolutely is good, especially for citizen journalists like BB Media, activists like Sam from Patriots of Britain, like yourself, activists going over to France as well, is fantastic. I didn't set out there to say all those people should stop that. Absolutely not. I set out there to ask the question, is it possible to stop the boats from physically confronting the gangs on the beaches? Maybe, as you just suggested, maybe it is possible through the pressure. But unfortunately, what we've seen is, I'm going off to Davos next week with Vox Populi, right? I'm going to Davos next week. I'm going to be exposing all of the World Economic Forum leaders, the unelected leaders who rule these countries. These people are flooding the UK. They're all working together. All these countries in Western Europe are working together to flood their own countries with migrants. It destabilizes the West. Destabilize the West, absolutely.
They are deliberately destabilizing the West. I can't see them willingly giving up Do you get what I mean? It's
No, it's a plan, and the thing is that the sad thing about this is that everyone sees it for what it is, and yet nothing happens. That's my issue.
Yes.
My issue is we've become too relaxed to just talk on screens, and I get it. There's only so much we can do, but the point of this is that your point of view of going over there and doing what we've tried to do, or doing what we're doing in London. We need to do something we've never done before, and this is my main point of everything that I'm trying to do differently. It's we've done the protests, we've done that, we've done this. Nothing's working, nothing's listening. I mean, people are, there's some criticism towards me that that I'm a bit of a hothead of it. I just see things for what they are. I mean, there's too much talking going on, and the talking has been going on for months, and we are now in a position where I just feel very saddened that I look at the generation of our grandfathers and what they did for us, and what they saw and what they went through, and the PTSD that they ended up having because of everything, and for us to just sit there and go, wow, we can do this. It's like we need a shock factor. We need people to realise that we're losing our identity, we're losing our country, we're losing everything, and people just don't realise how important it is. And this total waiting game of doing things, something needs to give now. And for me, okay, going over to France, causing a riot is definitely not the right choice. And the only way to stop the boats entirely from hitting the shores is putting 10 to 20,000 English and British lads on the beach. But it's just not going to happen, and it won't happen consistently. So there needs to be a real structured plan. But the plan needs to happen now. We can't wait till March, April, May. So I'm going to go on.
No, I was just going to say something to that final point. I agree that, the talking now, like, for example, Charlie Kirk was the olive branch, right? There has been enough talking. There has been enough talking, and it is time for action. And I'm fed up of people just sitting on their asses, not doing anything, turning out once every 3 months for a single rally, feel like they're changing the world, right? We need action now. But while that is the case, I feel like there's a growing number of talk at the moment about civil war. And let's kind of clear the air a little bit here as well. Civil war, when people call for civil war, they're calling for it against the wrong people, right? If you heard of a faraway land, while your own country's an absolute shithole, if you hear of a faraway land that is offering all these incentives, everyone here would absolutely take it, right? It's the government that are deliberately flooding these countries with migrants. Let's not forget that. And I remember, like, we saw Prime Minister Kami in Canada the other day started openly talking about the New World Order, right? He started openly talking about it. The New World Order, the one world government, all of that can only happen through a civil war, in my opinion, right? We don't want to divide war, we want to unite.
Unfortunately, it's hard enough to try and get everyone to go to France, let alone start a civil war. So the problem is unity. I've seen it for many years. I've been doing this for years. And I've watched movements destroy themselves and do that through big egos, through money, through everything else. And listen, we're all trying to have our part in it. I think civil war is just not. It'd be great for everyone, for all of us to go, right, we need to push a button and shit needs to go down. But people are too comfortable. I mean, like I said, it's hard enough getting people to come and do what's right in France, let alone to start. But the main point of this all is that I'm going to just so you're aware of what I'm trying to achieve here. What I'm trying to achieve is consistency in France. Like right now, I have 10 cars ready to go on the 24th into the 25th of January. They're full of 5 men in each car. They're all good lads. They all know each other. They've all been vetted. They all know that they're none of them are there to cause any dramas. Those cars and people on boats, on foot and by plane will be entering France. They're going to be given a location and they're going to go there and they're going to show a presence. Now, what will that achieve? Will that stop that boat? Probably not on that day, but what it does is it puts pressure, and it's time a statement was made. Yes, okay, I fully appreciate that does nothing for the longevity and the consistency, but Jesus Christ, I mean, something has to give. And if imagine if you have what we've done, what you've done, tenfold social media posts, live streams of people within those places near the camps, near the beaches, and it elevates it and think, bloody hell, like what's going on? Like there's loads of English lads all over the place and British lads. You know, it's a shock factor. You commit violence, you've lost. You start a riot, you've lost. You start a riot with the police, you've lost. You make us look like idiots. You know, that's the last thing that's needed. But some pressure is needed and something that's never been done before. And putting English and British boots on the ground quite soon is what's needed. And I won't shy away from that because I've been there enough to know that if we as a small collective group, which we have been, can cause such a storm, imagine what you could do with 50 lads that are in different parts. I mean, I don't know if you agree with it. You don't have to agree with it. That's my point of view. But I think it's time that a statement was made, and waiting and doing calls. It's just not. It's not right. The British and English don't wait. We need to do something now with the right people and the right mindset, and that's just my point of view.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to seeing the next time you go. You're going late January.
The 24th.
Keeping out for some content. Are you going with them? Because I thought you were one of the people banned.
Yeah, so So I'm going to fly into another country and I'm going to travel in. I don't mind saying that because they'll never see me. They'll never find me. So it is what it is. That's what I'm going to say. Because how can I send people there and not go myself? And if that risks what it is that I'm risking. Listen, James, my name hasn't been mentioned. No one has said Danny Tomo is banned from France. You know, Ryan and Razor Colours are doing what they're doing, and I wish them well. I hope they're successful. And it doesn't mean other people can't do things as well. I think that's where their problem lies, that they don't want other people doing other things. And unfortunately, this isn't their show. This is a collective group of patriots around the United Kingdom that need to come together and do what's needed now. So that's just how it is. They might not like it, but that's how it is. So we're gonna send people in a controlled manner to France, and we're going to put pressure. And we're going to get them to be known. I want people to be holding English flags in grave lines. I want English flags of, 20, 30 lads with English flags on grave lines. I want those images to be beamed back to the UK, and I want it to go viral on Instagram and X to show the British public that we are not going to lay down. Bloody dog. Go on, out. We're not just going to sit back and just let this happen. And, the boats came over yesterday. This weekend, there's going to be more boats. So, yeah, I wish everyone well with their endeavours. But, like I said, this is why I had BB on yesterday. So I had you on today. This is a group effort. We have to unity is key with this. I was having a chat with Tommy the other day. I said, mate, we need everyone to just take hold of some part of this, because this is the biggest issue that the UK is facing right now. The reality is we have some very dangerous men that are living in communities that are normally only in big cities, or these crimes happening in big cities. They're now happening everywhere. And people are scared. Women and children are scared. And we are, as a country, are just sitting there talking about it. I mean, imagine if it was you. Imagine, you're young, yeah?
Yeah.
People that are watching this now, imagine you're today. A migrant has been charged with the sexual assault of a child under the age of 13. Can we just for one second think about what that means? I mean, how the fuck has someone managed to enter our country and within a few months of being here sexually assault someone under the age of 13, a young girl? I mean, that's the level that we're at. What are we going to do? People are going to get angry and wait until it's their daughter or their mother or their sister that gets the, it's coming, because we've got enough wrong-uns in this country. James, we've got a lot of wrong-uns in this country. We've got a lot of people that need a lot of, a lot of wrong-uns. And the last thing we need to do is import people that have no respect for women, no respect for young girls. I've got a migrant phone. We're about to start a documentary on it because it's so powerful. I've actually given it to someone else. I don't think I'm the right person to do it because it's for the cause. But that migrant phone proves that this migrant from I'm not going to say where he's from, but from Africa, has an obsession with young white girls.
There was a guy in one of the Rochdale ringleaders, Curry Rolf, and I did a little investigation into him. It's still up and coming, guys, but it'll be out on Vox Pop Live probably next year. And he raped, I don't know what I can say on your YouTube channel, but let's just say he did some proper vile stuff. he has been up for deportation 3 times, losing an appeal as late as 2017. He has been spotted in exactly the same parts of Rochdale where he terrorized his victims. Exactly the same parts. In fact, his victims are bumping into him, the same victims that testified against him in court. And despite, losing a deportation appeal back in 2017, he still has not been deported. So this is where we're at. Is there are people who are here either illegally, people who traveled here back in the 1960s, who are abusing our girls, breaking our laws, and are not being deported. And I agree, we're going way too soft on these people. They need to, and you know what, I'd even go as far to, well, I don't even know I'm going that far to say it. Capital punishment, absolutely. Get him out of our country or execute him. And I don't care if you send him back to a country like Yemen where homosexuality is a crime. Like there was a guy in Norwich who what was it? He groomed a 14-year-old boy, and they refused to deport him because, well, in Yemen, homosexuality is a crime, right? So that I think there's another thing that I discussed in the video is the ECHR, right? The European Court of Human Rights. While we did accomplish, in a sense, Brexit and did leave the European Union, the European Court of Human Rights is still the board that we listen to. I mean, if in Hungary and France, which are both members of the European Court of Human Rights, they're not listening. They're refusing, and they're deporting people. They're deporting illegals who are committing crimes in their country.
Just doing what needs to be done.
They're getting fined for it, but who's going to force them to pay the fine?
Yeah, no, yeah, exactly. I know. It just shows the weakness. But you touched on something there. I mean, if you look at, the problems we've already got in this country and have over the last 25, 30, 40 years with the grooming gangs, and how that severely damaged, everything within the way we look at things, especially in the North English towns, to now have this kind of problem where people, where it's, Adam Brooks, it's constant. I always watch Adam Brooks because he's on it, and he reports on a lot that goes on, and it's weekly that we get 3-4 different assault, and it's like how they must sit there. When we are 2 working class lads, we're having a chat, we're talking about these dangers. They know the dangers. So from your perspective, James, why do you think they're allowing this? The government, even the Conservatives, because you've got to remember the Conservatives who are supposed to be on our side, sort of towards our side, allowed this to happen in a massive scale as well. Why do you think it's been allowed to happen?
So I think, and this is where I definitely disagree on a lot of people. There is a more sinister reason. Like there's a much bigger picture than that a lot of people aren't necessarily seeing, right? And that's when you flood the UK with millions of illegals who go around committing crimes, violence, etc. What happens? Well, you've got the British public who react by, rightly react by saying, oh, we need to do something about all of these illegal immigrants. And then the government comes up with a solution, or they wanted all along, right? It's problem, reaction, solution, Hegelian dialect, whatever, yeah? And that's currently they're trying to bring a digital ID. They're trying to bring in more legislation that restricts your rights, yeah? For example, with that, the stabbing of 3 little girls at Taylor Swift dance recital in Southport, which was absolutely horrendous. My girlfriend was in tears over it, and a lot of the British we were absolutely shocked when it happened, right? Well, from that, then you had a bunch of people who started who went to a hotel to get out their frustration and their anger, and rightly so. The whole country was in mourning that day that it happened, yeah. But as a result of that, more laws came in that restricted your right to free speech. It wasn't long after that.
Orchestrated to have a reaction, to bring in further laws, and to use the anger and the actions of the public to then pump them in, but using the basis of those actions to put them in.
Exactly.
Yeah, it makes sense. If you're going to do it, that's one way to do it. If you want to do it away, that'd probably be, if you're as sinister as they are, the globalists and the way they are. We've only got to look around the England in terms of the politicians. We are stuck with some really serious, mentally ill politicians in this country, which just do not see the realities of anything. And I think I don't know if it's, I don't know if they actually believe what they believe, or if they just, it's all part of a bigger plan. I don't know. I don't know if the left are just mentally not there. I don't know if it's. I mean, have you ever met a working class lefty? Like, be honest, have you ever?
Never. Even in university, they were all upper class.
Yeah, it seems to
campaign
be,
socialists.
and that seems to be, it seems to be a class thing. You know, the Antifas, the lefties, the paid protesters in London and all around the countries that we see. They all seem to be from a certain class, and that's no coincidence. I don't
It's
think.
because they're privileged. They like, for example,
they don't live where we live. They don't see what we see, and they don't have to deal with what we deal with.
Exactly. You know, in a lot of these upper class areas, I can't remember the name of the, like Kensington in London, for example, right? They don't deal with the immigration crisis like we do, because they're not being put in the higher upper class communities. They're being put in the lower class communities next to us, you know, next to the working class, right? So they're not seeing the same things we're seeing. And everything about us, all of our beliefs, our political ideology, etc., all stems from our life experiences, all of it. And whether you're a racist or not stems from it as well. Yeah, it stems from how you've experienced life and what you've had to go through. So that's a big reason why, you know, the working class are the most awake in this country, whereas the upper class are the ones who are saying, yeah, we need to bring in socialism. Yeah. You know,
it's a money thing as well. I think when you've got a lot of money and you're enjoying life, you don't really want to deal with them problems. I think if you're working class and, you know, you're hand to mouth with money and waiting for that, you know, you see things more clearly than other people that have got more money. So yeah, but listen, you know, I'm not gonna be on too much longer. It's my son's birthday tomorrow. I've got a lot of rapping to do, as I told you.
Happy birthday to your son.
Yeah, he's 8 tomorrow, so it's I've got to do a load of rapping, so that's going to be fun. But listen, I want to thank you for everything you're doing, and I honestly, as a young man, looking at you as what you're doing, you know, you should be very proud of yourself. You're very, very good at what you're doing, and I think you're going to go a long way. I think you've got some good people behind you as well. And if there's anyone else that's been over there and they want to come on and have a chat, it's that's my intention now, is to keep going. The intention is to make people aware that, you know, you can go over there, you can do what needs to be done without violence, without threats of anything, and put some pressure on the French. And that's what we're going to do on the 24th. And I hope it all goes well. So we're going to try and get it done. But thanks for coming on, James. And big up to yourself and BB. And hopefully we will meet again very soon, which I'm sure we will.
Thank you for having me on, Danny. Really appreciate it.
No worries, buddy. Take care, yeah? Thanks,
Bye-bye.
James. God, I wish we had some more young lads like him. So intelligent. He's been around. I've known James for a while. I've seen him at a lot of events. Very screwed on, head screwed on, very intelligent. So yeah, I'm going to pop that video that he did in the description at some point. So if you want to come back to it, you can have a look at it. What do I want to finish on? What I want to finish on is people to understand one very important factor. Yes, I'm a little bit hot-headed. Yes, I'm a little bit angry at it sometimes, but I feel the pain of what's coming and I care. And I think for me, when I sit there and I know what needs to be done and it's not being done, it frustrates me very, very much. I've always been the same way. I will never change for anyone. I will never be what someone else wants me to be, because that's not who I am. I'm a patriot, I'm a Christian, and I care. I care about this country. I care about its future. I care about my kids that are growing up in this country. And what I want to do in France is not violent. So for anyone that thinks I'm just going to go over there and cause a riot, this is entirely untrue. That's not my intention, and I'll make sure that doesn't happen. My intention is to put pressure. We have to stop talking. Okay, we have to stop. Like seriously, we have to stop talking, because it's getting us nowhere and it's achieving nothing. We know what needs to be done. It doesn't need to be long-winded. It doesn't need to be this, that, and the other. I wish everyone that is part of the cause to bring the stop to the boats and to do what they want to do to get this done. good luck to you, and I hope you succeed. But please leave me the fuck alone to do what I need to do and stop fucking having a go at me. All right? I walked away because it was the right thing to do. I asked you not to talk about me, and you've pulled me in. I'm not going to be involved in a tit for tat. I'm not going to get involved in infighting. I know what I'm about. I know what my intentions are. And my intentions are, my idea was Operation Overlord. The sentiment that I came up with was because of what my grandfather went through in the 1940s. And you can say what you want about me. You can make up lies. You can try and push people to hate me. You can try and get people to discredit me. But I will see this through one way or the other. I will never walk away, no matter how much drama or slander comes my way. And that's it. So I'll be back on tomorrow. Tomorrow, I said it yesterday, but tomorrow we're going to pull the maps up. I'm going to show you where we're going to be going. And I'm not going to hide it. I want the French to know we're coming. I want the French to know they fucked up. I want the French to be worried. I want the French to be looking out. And I want them to be watching these videos. I want them to realise that without us, they would have lost their country. Without us, they would have lost everything. My grandfather, like yours, and the Americans, gave them their country back when they surrendered like little sausages. So I find it very insulting that they're trying to ban people. And my name hasn't been mentioned. No one has written me a legal letter. No one has posted on any of my emails to tell me that Daniel Thomas or Danny Tomo has been banned. So I will be going to France. And I'll be standing with my English and British brothers to send a clear message to the French authorities and to the British that this consistency will continue, be it through my means, be it through Raise the Colours means, be it through James's means, be it through UKIP's means, be it through whoever. This has to be a unified operation. This cannot be about one group. And that is the end of it. I love you all. Think what you want, do what you want. I don't care. Operation Overlord is active. I meet the Patriots on Sunday. We're going through the nitty gritty of what's going to happen, and we're going to get it done. 9 years I've been doing this. I've organised probably 50 to 60 protests in my time. I've had people turn up, 50,000 people turn up in central London, organised by me. 20,000 the next time, 30,000 the next time. And I did that because I cared about the country. And anyone that knows me knows my intentions are pure. Love you all. In God's name. Just make sure you go to church tomorrow. I'll be in church tomorrow before I go for the meet. Love you all. Take care.